Down here at the shop, field 29 for. And we're getting ready to go out there. I was going to use the early riser, but there was an update to it. I had to do the update before I got on, and instead of corn, sunflower, blah blah blah, it doesn't do the rest of them. Whereas the other day when I did my crops, it did all of the crops. I guess when and reinstall it and see if that works, because I like this planter, but he's got, he updated it, came up with a 9-meter version, and wow, it changed. So that's ridiculous. I mean, who'd have thought that update would cause that kind of problem? Well, let's see. Well, won't gonna get that one. Let's try that. Trail. No, that doesn't look there. Release that for now. I really want to get that early riser back, but that's okay. I guess. Oh, no, that's not sure. What about that too? Get some seed. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That update for that early riser that took it off the. Here you could do all the crop types with it. Like I did before. Now you can't do it. That's wild. Okay, let's see. Seed. That should do it. Okay, that should be enough for rye. Well, to proceed here. Okay. You want to take all that? Alright, let's look at our map. We are, where are we at? We're down here. Come out of the shop. First left. Okay, first left. Rain on the horizon. We've got 2 fields that are almost ready to harvest. I don't think we're going to be doing them on this day, probably the next day. I'm going to feel the rain's going to beat us before they come due, ready to harvest. Whoa! Let's slow down there a little bit. Pay attention to what I'm doing. I guess we're going to lift up here at the. This is a biogas plant. Turn our little HUD on here. I wanted to use that early riser, but that was an update before I came on. I updated it, and now all you can do now is the standard planting crops, corn, etc. You can't do the cereal crops, grain crops. I don't know if I thought uninstall and reinstall will fix it back to where it was doing and everything, or he made it that way. I don't know. I mean, I appreciate there's a cheaper 9-meter version of it now, but case you're wondering, we bought the T8 T8.4. Took the Fendt back, sold it, had to borrow some money in order to buy this tractor. I like the Fendt, but it's a little loud on my end. Plus, every time I stopped it, it sounded like a couple of the cylinders in the engine were beat. It sounded like an old jalopy. I just couldn't stand that. And horsepower-wise, I forgot about this tractor. I thought, I'm going to get a new Holland Blue Power. It's 460 horsepower, so it's worth it. So now we are $515,000 in debt to the bank. Which we're going to have to work off. Money's down around about 181. It's like $181,790 we're down. Have leased the Joskin solid space trailer, tipper trailer. Holds more. It's a push tipper. I like push tippers better. Took the other one I had back. Tried leasing another one, which didn't really work out for me. We got all our fields sown that we had previously harvested. Onion on here and tomato on here. It's about as expensive as far as seed wise goes, using the amount of seed as sugar beet. I mean, really expensive. I did that smaller field down there by the main house with that early riser, and that's 3,000 some odd liters. I think it's 3,002, almost 3,002 liters, 3,200 liters. Took two. I came in on that smaller field. I started out. I did a third of that field, and I had a full seed bin, and it was down to my last 100. I went and filled back up again. It took basically almost two full seed bins to do that one small field in onion. And the field I'm talking about is, you find the farm. Well, I say it's a small field. I did fill it with three. That was three. That was two full seeders, and then there was another seeder and a half, and then this one a full seeder. I mean, tomato and onion. Woo! I mean, that goes. That thing that eats up the seed, just like sugar beet does when you're planting sugar beet. Kind of flabbergasted, but that's okay. It's a new crop type. I want to see how it works out. Evidently, you harvest both the tomato and the onion with. There's a modded beet harvester in here on this map that I guess the modder put out for this map specifically. It's just like, man, alright, you know. Couldn't believe the seed, how it ate through so much seed was planting those fields. Sorry that my voice is a little hoarse and that I'm a little scratchy. Well, I was talking to a friend of mine earlier. We had a video chat. We talked a little over 2 hours. I get long-winded and everything. My voice starts to go when I'm talking. So I apologize if my voice is a little scratchy. Like I got a frog in my throat right now. But I think what I've done is I've overtaxed my vocal cords, and I'm a big long-winded storyteller on top of a guy, talking to a guy for par for the course. Get a worker going. In a minute. Got some barley I want to take and see if I can sell, make some money off of. I'm gonna grab me a sip of water here real quick and see if that helps my voice any. I'm gonna try to get some contracts in to make some money. Do stuff in the rain that normally you can't do in real life. We're gonna try like sowing and cultivating, so fertilizing. So we're probably gonna do stuff like that for right now. We have two fields that are close and ready, close to being harvested, but they're a dark green. But I'm not for sure. So we're going to get them done today because there's rain in the forecast. Using the Great Plains seeder. It's the Y, I think it's 624, I think. Let's see. I got it. YP 4258. Is that 4258, I think? Yeah, okay. Well, I think that's what it says. I'm a little far away from the screen, so it's kind of hard for me to see that. Down here, this is the shallower end. It's a little more shallow to turn around in. And we do hire a worker, if and when we do. Get it here in a second. Worker when take off. Hopefully he'll be able to do it no problem. I'm gonna make it back to the farm. Massey. We're gonna take the barley to market, sell it. Why not just tab over? over here and get this sold. Let's see what we get off of it. Get our money back up. Mr. Pierce, how's it going? Okay, slow down a little bit. Well, I think it's going to be over all right. Come on there. Whoa, brakes. Cool beans, dude. Cool beans. Easy there, Big Papa. I couldn't even see the name of this market. I'm hoping that price is good. Looked like it was. From where I'm sitting, of course, you know, blind as a bat, so. Is that not ready? Oh, wait a minute now. Really? Did I go to the wrong store? Be my luck. I did. I went to the wrong store. Great. Now we gotta travel across half the map looking for the let's look for it. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Alright, let's see. We're down here. Go up this road. Oh my lord, what a rude way. Is that where we're going? Looks like it didn't. Oh man. That was wonderful. Oh, why did it say that? Oh, I understand what I've done. Okay. Let's put a little map on here so we see where we're going, what we're doing. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Oh, why is that blinking over here on the right? What? Wait a minute. I'm there. Okay. Am I missing something? What in the world is that there blinking in front of that? It's not the store that I highlighted. Let's go the old roundabout way. I don't know. Maybe we'll figure it out. Going off on a wild goose chase, probably so. Now I highlighted that store, and that said that store was taking. It's been one of those. It's already starting to be one of those days, and here, I slept good, had a good breakfast. Question is, are we going to be able to make it back to the farm? Oh my goodness, come on, Bessie, pull. Oh my gosh. Holy mackerel. I thought you had some oomph. We're not pulling that much. Okay, I hope I get this right. I hope this takes me right. I don't understand why. I have to look into that. Said I'm sitting back from the screen, so I can't really see. You can't zoom in when you're broadcasting, so it makes things a little difficult for the nearsighted. Why would the ranch take? Oh, okay, I don't know. This thing doesn't rest you when I come up on top of it. Oh man. Why is it not registering? Now it's registering. Why didn't you register down there? I did the same thing down there. Ah. That I don't get. Alright, let's go back to looking at the map. And we'll see where I'm at. Can I get to the main farm from here? Yes. Go straight down this baby. Hang a left. Well, hang a right, excuse me. Boom, back to the farm. Okay. Huh. You're all probably sitting there shot on the screen. You didn't have it highlighted down there at the other place. That was paying a better price too. No, I probably didn't have it highlighted. Or I went to where they just buy root crops only. I'm taking grains. Woohoo! Oh, that's great. Well, like I said, brain fart, old fart. Pretty much. We should be coming up on our right-hand turn, hopefully. I'm just glad there's not traffic on these little lanes. That should be our field right there. And it's growing. Good. pins. I wonder how our worker's doing on that field. Find out in a minute. He's done a good job, or if he's messed up. Put something there. Put a shed there, maybe later down the line, a small shed. Turn off our map. Let's tab over to Mr. Tractor and see what he's doing with work. He's doing pretty good. Almost got it finished. Take a look at our contracts. Okay. Field 30. About that. It's 20. Is that 25? By the shop. I could have went that way a lot easier than whatever. That's not, no, never mind. Yeah, might take that on. Jump back into Mr. Massey here and get the old converter one hooked up. Just in case I decide to go over the fertilizer contract, which I think I'm going to do after that sowing contract is done. Where is it? Okay. Field 30. It's over us. Right there next door. Okay. Let's take this tractor over that way. Hey, Farming, that's cool. That's cool, man. I understand. I love that early riser, that case early riser seeder planter. Since the update came out, I came back on here. It doesn't do all the crop tops. I want to get back off and gonna try to uninstall and reinstall and see if that changes things. Because when I left from sowing these fields over here, that planter did all the crop tops. Now it doesn't even do all the crop tops. It just does just the standard stuff, the corn and everything else. To do the cereal crops. It did the cereal crops, but now it doesn't. And the update came out before I came on here, and I updated it. I'm gonna go back up here. You put out a smaller version, a 9-meter version. It's a little bit cheaper, not much, but a little bit cheaper. But now it doesn't do all the crop tops. It just does standard crops. I'm doing some field contract work to make some money. We just sold some barley over at the ranch. I was talking earlier about I used that to plant some of my crops. I planted onions and I planted some of the newer crops and carrots. Man, carrots and onions, that seed. I mean, I ate through the seed on some fields. That seeder holds 32, I think almost 3,200 liters of seed. Almost 2 full seeders just to do field number 3. A seeder and a half to do field 1, and a full seeder to do field 4 here. And that was let's see if I'm got it right. This one, I believe, that's not millet. What did I put in there? I put carrots in one of these. I know I did. I think it's carrot there. That's onion. And what was the other crop I did? There, that cost me so much. Oh man, I tell you, it's just reminds me of someone's sugar beet just eats through the seed. And I was saying there's a modern harvester on here that it's a sugar beet harvester that does the onion and the carrots. Thank God for that. But I just couldn't believe how much. I mean, that just ate through the seed. I mean, it didn't cost me a whole lot using that seed silo, but still. Why did you stop? Add a seed, that's why you stopped. Now I gotta run back to the store and get some more seed. I thought I would have enough of this field. Holy mackerel, they ride on it that fast? Wow. I didn't see it when I was popped over there. Oh, shop, I hope. Too hard on the brakes there. Don't think our fields are going to beat the rain. I'm hoping that they would. We get them start harvesting, but I don't know. Don't think it's going to work out for us. Well, today at least. Okay, this should be enough to get us going. Finishing the job. That should be enough to finish up the job, I hope. Got this on lease. We may keep it on lease, do some sewing contracts. Not quite sure. Well, as I said earlier, I was talking to a friend today. He and I had a good conversations. We've had conversations over the past months online, just messaging, and we had a video chat today, and we were talking about some things. It got me thinking about my grandfather and how one of the things I was telling him, one of the stories I was telling him about how when I was little. Oh, sounds nice. I was telling him that when I was little, how farming for us was a necessity. About 25% of our subsistence came from the grocery store, and that the rest of it came from actually growing our own food. I don't think we started, if I can remember correctly, I don't know of a time that we ever bought a vegetable or fruit or jelly or jam or beef from a grocery store. We bought only milk, bread, occasionally butter, because a lot of times we had other farmers around us that milked and made their own butter. I was telling my friend, Mr. Ben, who happens to be in the chat room with us, that I can remember back when, you know, my grandmother, my aunt, my mother, one of my cousins, the next door neighbor ladies that lived next door, and how they would be there canning, and if you live in the U.S., you may know what canning is. If you don't, canning is where you take mason jars, 1 quart mason jars, pint mason jars, and you put your fruits, your vegetables inside the jar. Some of them are parboiled, par cooked, or however, and then they're put in the jar, and that jar is sealed with a wax seal under the rim of the jar, and then it's put into a hot water bath, and that seals the jar tight, and it preserves your food, and then that food can last a year, 2 years, even 3 years down the line. One of the reasons why I'm bringing this up is, and how it put me in mind to tell him this story today was the same thing I'm telling you. I'm thinking about my grandmother. I was sitting at breakfast one morning, and I was thinking about my grandmother and my grandfather and the gardens they kept and the gardens that we kept, and how not only did my mom and dad and my sister and I benefit from our gardens, but my grandfather's garden, my great aunt's garden, the neighbor's garden. We all just came in together like one community. Even though we lived 80 miles away from my grandfather at the time, we all came together with whatever we had, and canned stuff and preserved stuff and dried stuff, and made it ready to live off of. And why did he? Oh, contract was fulfilled. I'll just let him finish up. I had some homemade jam one day about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and that's what put me in mind of this. And I remember 3 years before my grandmother passed away, we had some of her blackberry preserves, and these blackberry preserves had been canned and put away 3 years prior, still good, Still sweet and delicious. Still good, was good on biscuits and toast and peanut butter sandwiches and everything. And that jar that she put on the table, I remember her just saying at breakfast that morning, "This is the last jar of my blackberry reserve. It's the very last jar I made. The very last jar I'm probably gonna make. I will have made in my lifetime." And I mean, and I started thinking about that and all the canning that we done. All the, we had here when I lived in Jonesboro with my dad and my mom. We had two gardens, an upper garden and a lower garden. We had apple orchard. We had a pear orchard. We had peach trees. My grandfather had a 1 acre garden behind his house. He grew, you name the vegetable, he grew it. You name the melon, the squash, whatever, he grew it. 5 miles away was my great aunt. Her house and her land backed up on a farm that my dad and my grandfather and my uncle owned, where we raised beef. If we wanted meat, we got beef. If we wanted pork, a friend of ours would have, sell us a hog. He'd butcher the hog. He would process the hog into sausage, bacon, hams, whatever. And I just remember the times sitting there in the house watching the women folk do all this stuff, making pickles and putting them in a big crock, big ceramic crock, putting the pickles in there, putting the brine in there, and then putting the weight on the pickles. Homemade coleslaw or pickled cabbage sauerkraut, doing the same thing. And how after the harvest was said and done, we'd have food for basically an entire year. And the only thing that my mom would have to buy from the grocery store would be bread or milk, if we couldn't get milk from a local dairyman, or butter if we couldn't get butter. Those main things. Coke, sodas. Well, that kind of thing. Potato chips, if we wanted to have potato chips as a side with our sandwich for lunch or whatever. Those things that you couldn't get homemade, but everything else was homemade. Everything was the jellies and the vegetables and everything else. My grandmother, my grandfather's apple trees were Granny Smith apples, and my grandmother would put those away for pies at a later date, or she'd turn those into what we call fried apples that we'd have with breakfast and Sunday dinners and Sunday lunches. And I've just been thinking about all that stuff lately, and I just think about how in our lives we take things for granted. And I always took those for granted that my grandmother would always be making preserves and canned stuff, and my mom would too, and my aunts and the neighbors would. And we did it basically traditionally for a long, long time. I mean, we moved back to Tennessee when I was 5 going on 6, and from that time on the way till I think around the time I turned 18 or 19, it just kept on going, and then all of a sudden it just stopped, and then we started relying more on the grocery store. I think about all that stuff, and it's like, man, I'd love to be able to go back to gardening and preserving and keeping, subsisting more off the land than off of the local grocery, that kind of thing. Let me park this up right about here for right now. But he and I talked about that today, and I just thought, it's amazing how all the things that came about in my lifetime. I guess that was one reason, plus the fact that, wait a minute, whoa, I just remembered something. Forgot to get paid for the contract. Go down here to the fertilizing contract. Accept it. Now take off. There we go. I was thinking about my grandfather because of Veterans Day and what's been going on and stuff like that. He's been gone since 92. Every time these holidays come around, it puts me in mind of him. World War II veteran, raised his family, wasn't supposed to make it back from Europe, but did. Got to see grandchildren born, great-grandchildren born, and even great-great-grandchildren born before he passed. And how things were with us when we were on the you know, herding cattle, planting tobacco, harvesting corn, planting corn, doing hay, and all that. That put me in mind of all that stuff, all that wonderful and homegrown food that we would grow and harvest and feed us. And we're talking about a lot of people now. These gardens and stuff I'm talking about could feed my parents and myself and my sister, my aunt and uncle and her children, my other uncle and aunt and their children. I'm talking like 30 people. It could feed 30 people for over a year or more, just depending on what the vegetable or fruit or whatever was preserved. I remember my grandfather, you know, drying onions and putting them downstairs in the cellar. I had a real great conversation with Farmer Ben. I enjoyed it. I look forward to our next one. Had a great time. I got long-winded and talked his ear off. And we talked about pretty much a lot of things. And you know, like my friend Farmer Pierce says, I'm a long-winded person, and I do love the gab. We'll get this contract done. We'll see if we can't move on to another one. And I think we're going to probably call it a day, and we're going to call it a stream, because, like I said, we got rain coming, and there's not much we can do in rain as far as harvest goes, and our fields aren't ready, and it's just going to be nothing but maybe doing some contracts, making some money. Got to work off that debt. So like I said, you know, we traded the Fent, sold the Fent, turned around, took a loan, bought the T8, bought a couple more things, and now we are $515,000 in debt to the bank, and we've got to make some money to pay that off and start nibbling at that debt of ours. So far I can say I'm pretty much enjoying this map. It's a pretty good map. Haven't running into any kind of major issues whatsoever. Let's just continue on, because we're going to just put a little wider there than we did earlier. Back up a little bit. Doing all right. Come back up from this end. I guess we're going to come back with one more small pass, it looks like. Long field, not a wide field, but a long field. cut complete. And we're going to move on. Don't know. We might take on a harvesting contract. I want to do some more fertilizing if I can. There's a sowing contract, harvesting. Mostly harvesting contracts. Take on that one. Let's head back to the main farm. Well, I think we're going to call it there. I'm glad you tuned in. Hope you liked it and enjoyed yourself while you were here. I don't like to keep going forever and ever and ever. There's not a whole lot we can do today on this day because it's going to rain. And you already see me do some contracts as far as sowing and fertilizing and selling some barley and everything. So we'll have to do it another day. Like I said, I hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed yourself. If you did, hit that old like button for me. If you haven't subscribed, hit that old subscribe button for me. Hit the old notification bell. I'm going to try to be on 2 or 3 times a week streaming doing this farm. Hopefully we can get out of that. We can get this thing up and running, get some animals pretty soon. I had a good time. I'm glad you could join me. I want you to stay safe and healthy out there. Have a good week. I'll see you in a few days. And as always, friends and neighbors, happy farming. We'll see you another day.